Solo Sikoa snaps backstage. Raw backstage chaos erupts. Solo vs Jacob Fatu tension. WWE RAW shocking fallout. Roman Reigns sparks chaos. What really happens when a family argument stops being just talk and starts feeling like a warning shot behind the scenes of WWE? And more importantly, how far can Solo Sikoa actually be pushed before something inside him finally snaps for good? Because this one didn't feel like your usual backstage tension. This felt different. Heavier. Like everybody in that room knew they were one wrong word away from things going completely off the rails. So let's talk about it. It all starts in that familiar WWE RAW atmosphere where everything looks normal on the surface, but if you've been watching long enough, you already know that normal backstage is usually just the calm before the storm. People walking past each other, quick conversations, production crew moving like nothing is wrong, but somewhere in the middle of all that, there's tension building that nobody is fully saying out loud. And at the center of it this time? Solo Sikoa. Now Solo isn't the loudest guy in the room. He never really has been. Even when things get heated, he's usually the type to let silence do the talking. That kind of silence that makes you think, okay, this guy is either completely calm or something bad is about to happen. And then you've got Jacob Fatu. If you know anything about Jacob Fatu, you already know he doesn't exactly walk around backstage like he's trying to avoid pressure. He carries that energy like he's always one step away from chaos. Not fake chaos either, the real kind. The kind people don't really want to test unless they absolutely have to. So when you put Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu in the same space, especially with Roman Reigns' name floating around in the background, yeah, you can already feel where this is going. At first, it's just words. That's how it always starts in WWE. Nobody just jumps straight to chaos. There's always that build-up. That slow burn where you can tell something is off even if nobody else is reacting yet. And someone brings up Roman Reigns. Now look, in this whole Bloodline situation, Roman Reigns isn't just a person. He's like a trigger. A memory. A pressure point. The kind of name that changes the temperature in the room without anyone touching anything. The moment Roman's name enters the conversation, you can almost feel Solo's entire mood shift. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just a subtle change. The kind only people paying attention would notice. Jacob Fatu says something. Not even necessarily disrespectful at first. More like confident. Maybe even a little too confident. The kind of comment that sounds harmless if you're outside the situation, but inside that dynamic? It hits differently. And that's where things start to tighten. Solo steps in. Now this is where people usually expect shouting right away, but no. Solo doesn't start with shouting. He starts with that stare. That quiet, locked-in look like he's trying to decide if he even needs to waste energy responding. And honestly, that stare alone is worse than yelling. Jacob doesn't back down though. That's the thing about him. He doesn't flinch easily, and that just adds more fuel to the situation. Now you've got two guys standing there, both refusing to shift even a little, and the air gets thicker with every second. People around them start noticing. You know that awkward backstage moment where everyone suddenly becomes busy doing something else? Yeah, that happens. Somebody suddenly cares a lot about a clipboard. Another guy suddenly needs to check a cable that definitely didn't need checking 5 seconds ago. Because everyone can tell this isn't just a casual disagreement anymore. And then it happens. Solo snaps. Not in a cartoonish, over-the-top way. Not throwing things or yelling like a movie villain. It's sharper than that. More controlled. More dangerous in a way that actually makes people uncomfortable. He steps in closer. Voice low. Direct. The kind of tone that doesn't leave room for jokes or misunderstanding. Whatever Jacob said about Roman Reigns clearly hit a nerve Solo wasn't trying to expose. And when Solo finally lets it out, it's not just anger. It's frustration that's been sitting there for a while. Like this wasn't about just that one comment. It's about everything underneath it. Everything connected to Roman. Everything connected to the bloodline. Everything people keep bringing up like it's just entertainment, while for them it's something a lot more personal. Jacob Fatu doesn't step back. He responds. Of course he does. And that's where it goes from tense to dangerous. Because now it's not just words bouncing back and forth. It's pride. It's legacy. It's who belongs where, who answers to who, and who doesn't take orders from anyone anymore. And if you followed this storyline long enough, you already know how quickly things can spiral when ego gets involved. At one point, it looks like it's about to turn physical. Not fully. Not yet. But close enough that people nearby are already preparing to step in. You can tell by the body language. The half steps forward. The hesitation. That if this moves 1 inch further, I'm jumping in energy. But it stops just short. And that might honestly be the most interesting part of all this. Because the snap wasn't about destruction. It was about control. Solo wasn't losing himself completely. He was drawing a line. A very clear one. The kind you don't cross unless you're ready for what comes after it. But here's where things get even more interesting. Because once everything calms down, even slightly, you can still feel the ripple effect. That backstage tension doesn't just disappear. It spreads. People start whispering. Not loudly, but enough. Everyone knows something just shifted. And the biggest question hanging in the air isn't just what Solo did. It's what Roman Reigns has to do with all of this now. Because let's be honest. Roman's shadow is still all over this entire situation. Even when he's not physically there, he's still the center of gravity. The reason tensions rise. The reason alliances feel unstable. The reason every conversation feels like it has an invisible weight behind it. And Solo snapping like this? That's not random. That's pressure building up, finally finding a crack. Now imagine what happens next time these two are in the same building again. Because you don't just walk away from moments like this and pretend they didn't happen. WWE doesn't work like that. These things always come back louder. And Jacob Fatu? He doesn't strike me as the type to just forget this either. So now we're in that interesting space where nothing has officially exploded, but everything feels like it's already halfway there. And that's honestly the most dangerous place to be in WWE storytelling. Because once the line has been drawn backstage, it doesn't stay backstage for long. Now I want to throw this out to you watching right now, because I know everyone has a different read on this situation. Was Solo justified in